Hi guys, welcome to Best Life Now. This is Super Dave. I'm here with Jen. Hi Jen.
Hi, everyone.
We're just feeling and flowing. Today it is August 6th, 2020, and while Jen is getting out a few notifications, it's fun because these Best Life Nows. Sometimes we talk about things from the Abraham Now, but I was feeling so inspired, and this is something that if they haven't talked about in the Abraham Nows, I really strongly have a feeling they're going to. They've talked about it in bits and pieces, but it ties in with the understanding that there's really not power in numbers, but there is power in alignment. And it's this. Oftentimes in personal development, there's these things where they say, we in this group believe, and we in that group believe. But I'm here to share with you guys a potential expansion on this, which is that there is some of that true, but we also have our own unique individual beliefs, and that's what creates the power. It's our beautiful unique alignment. It's our beautiful individuality, an expansion of that, and by thinking that there's power in numbers, it can really get you into a trap of turning off your internal guidance system and going with the group instead of going with your feelings of who you are and the extension of that energy. So Jen?
I love everything you shared, and thank you. That was perfect timing.
Yay.
Absolutely beautiful, brilliantly timed. And it's true because Abraham makes the beautiful statement, and they actually did expand out on this a few broadcasts ago. Oh, and it was just inspired to me. But one person and their alignment is more powerful than millions who aren't, right? And lots of times people will gather together in groups, kind of having this sense of, oh, if I'm in a group, then I'll have power. But really, you can create some momentum, right? Because law of attraction is always, working with us, right? Wherever we're focusing, but you're not actually necessarily tapping into your power, because your power comes from you being aligned with who you really are, right? And if that happens to coincide with a group, great. But your alignment is what matters, not the group. And it's first, you want to align yourself to who you really are, right? And if you find a group, kind of like Best Life, or if you have a group of whatever, Abraham people, or a church group, or a group of friends, or it doesn't matter, some kind of a club, a sports team, or something you align with, well, that's fantastic. But your alignment is what matters. Your alignment is what is empowering you, because when you are aligned with who you really are, you bring in the leverage of the universe, right? Your inner being, all that have preceded you, and your vortex are all right there, right? Everything is right there guiding you. And what you'll find is when you are flowing in your own alignment, you are influential. You really are. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're assertive, right? So, because a lot of times you'll hear somebody and they'll think, if I talk really loud, I'm influential. Or if I have a very commanding style, I'm influential, right? Well, not necessarily, right? So you really, it really is tapping into that energy. Consider some, maybe a spiritual leader or something like that, like Gandhi or Buddha or, Jesus or Muhammad. They were pretty quiet. They did share a message, but they were pretty mellow, pretty gentle, pretty easy flowing. Think of Mother Teresa. That's a beautiful example. Think of how mild, how sweet, but yet how renowned, how well known, how influential throughout this planet, right? But it wasn't because she was standing and demanding and telling you, right? Because she was being who she really was, right? Most of the time, right? And I'm not even saying you have to be in your alignment all of the time, but you want to be there more than you're not, for sure. Yeah. So I'll pause there.
I mean, I just love that we're talking about this, Jen, because I think it's also been sort of portrayed that like powerful people are loud,
Mhm.
and or the louder they are, the more aligned they are. But that would mean that there's such a thing as law of assertion, and we know that there's not. And I can say for myself, and I shared with you a real recent example where I was really, in essence, trying to assert, and unbeknowingly to me, for a few minutes, my joy onto somebody else, and they were not having it, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then I tried to give them even more joy, and then I kind of realized, what am I doing here? It's like well-meaning manipulation. And then I was able to just calmly be in my alignment. Because for the circumstances, what was perfect was the people that popped in my car were joyful. So it was a vibrational match. This next person was overwhelmed. Joyful was not a vibrational match to joy at all.
Yeah.
But there was something very beautiful, and I shared this with people, in our classes on Best Life just recently, which was what was in alignment to this person's overwhelmment. Me thinking I need to assert this, and maybe I can get their approval, and can you feel the overwhelmment? It's a match. So when I was going, oh my gosh, I don't need to be a vibrational match to this. I
Yeah.
found this sense of calm within me. I found this sense of security within me,
Mm.
and I found this sense of stability. And then I allowed myself to flow forward into what felt good to me in that next moment and flowed forward along that.
Oh, I love that, right? Because it is our experiences that teach. So even if these words you're going, yeah, 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 they sound good. But if you can correlate that to an experience, or if you have an experience, then you know it. You know it like you know it.
Yeah.
So kind of feel your way through, the information and the things that we're sharing, for sure. And no, because I love what you shared, Dave. This is a law of attraction universe. There is no assertion. There is absolutely no assertion. And think about how God or source is, or our inner being with us, right? They are in a really feel good place all of the time. But when they view us, they view us with eyes of love and appreciation. And even if we're in a really uncomfortable space from our physical perspective, right? Maybe we're in that overwhelmed space, they don't pity us, or they don't go, come on, just put your happy face on. What are you doing? They don't do that. Our inner being doesn't. God doesn't. Source doesn't. It doesn't reprimand us. So if you're hearing those kinds of voices, or if you're kind of talking to yourself like that, you may want to consider shifting it to a voice that's more in alignment with your inner being, with God, with source. And source would be saying, like, we love you so much. We appreciate you so much. Oh, we have what you want. You are on your path. Thank you for choosing this. You've chosen the most wonderful things. We're holding our focus true to your desires. We'll continue to sit, we'll continue to match them to relevancy in your every moment. We
Mm,
love you so much. They're ready for you. That we hold them true for you. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking for more. Right?
mm.
It's like that. And the universe is
Yeah.
expanding. And it
Yeah.
never reprimands us for not. But guess what? When we come into alignment with it, right? It's like, this is awesome, right? They're right in. You can feel your inner being. It's like if food tastes sweeter, things that you see look just awe inspiring, like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, indescribably beautiful,
Yeah.
right? Your senses, you may get some goosebumps or shivers on or your skin, right? You may feel a sense of elation just within you in some way, right? And that's when you know, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah.
I'm getting a sense of who I really am,
Mhm.
right? But when you're not there, you don't source, your inner being is not reprimanding you or pushing you or trying to motivate you.
That Can I add to that, Jen? I love that we're
Yeah.
talking about this because I think this is another thing ties in with this beautifully, which is the misunderstanding of love. Love is a very powerful vibration, but it's incredibly gentle. but it's also incredibly stable. And when we think that we need to really show people how Jen, we're great in Best Life, and and you can be great too. And guys, can you feel that? That's shaky ground. But when we can come calmly from a space, and even if I do get enthusiastic, I'm not raising my voice 3 octaves. I'm saying things like, you guys have everything in you to succeed right now. You are so loved. You are so adored by your beautiful inner being, and God, and source, and the universe, and higher being, and whatever synonym you decide to call it. Can you guys feel the difference?
Mhm.
There's passion there, but there's not assertion.
Yeah.
You know, because there is this goofy idea too, Jen, where people say, and if you don't believe it, well then, may God strike you down. And it's like, no, no,
Yikes. Well,
not,
you don't have to be concerned. God
yeah,
is not striking anybody down.
no, no,
Not ever. And that's a beautiful point to understand. Everything
yeah,
that comes to us in this life experience is because of where we're holding our focus.
right,
So if we're deliberate in focusing on things that feel better to us, right? And want to be very clear about that point. It doesn't matter if what I'm focusing on doesn't feel good to Dave or if it feels
right,
good to Dave. It matters how it feels to me,
right,
right? Because my power of focus is with me. Dave
right.
can't change my focus. I mean, I know Dave really well, but Dave can't get
Kitties,
in there and
Jen,
go,
kitties, kitties. I'm
right?
just kidding.
I'm going to move your energy, Jen.
Yeah.
Yikes. But I can be beautifully influenced. But guess what? I still move my energy. This
Right,
is my point of focus, my point of attraction. You have your own point of focus, your own point of attraction. And
yeah,
it's so valuable and it's so irreplaceable and it's so unique. No other can perceive from your perspective. And I think if people could come to understand, how valuable they are, how valuable their perspective is, how valued it is by source, God, and all that is, right? It's
right.
not just valued. And that's even a little askew in the statement because it's not like they're going, oh, thank you for being an extra in this production. It's like
Right.
you are a piece of this
This,
production.
right,
What you focus on is bringing about more. And the beautiful thing is be easy about it because you can't do it wrong. You can say, yes, I can. I've done some stuff wrong. No, just ease up on it. You have made some choices maybe or done some things for sure that you would now in a different moment of time choose differently. But go ahead and choose differently if a situation like that presents itself again, but
ooh,
appreciate the experience that you had and the asking that occurred during that
yeah,
and have no regret over it
right,
because you have served the universe well. You have served yourself
exactly,
well. Yeah,
exactly.
go ahead.
Well, you're talking about this idea of, we haven't done anything wrong. And I know that, that. But I think something to consider too is that if you hold on to that vibration, guys, you really can't flow forward because you're always looking to the past. You're always holding on. It is an analogy that we've said in Best Life too, Jen. It's like getting in a car and driving, instead of looking through the windshield at what's 50 feet in front of your face, you're consistently looking in the rearview mirror, and you're consistently looking in the rearview mirror. Just because you just want to make sure, Jen. You just want to make sure, because you just want to, you just want to make sure, because you just want to, yeah, because you got into an accident because you just want to make sure. Well, it's the same thing with our own vibration. If we're continuously looking back and 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 looking back, I don't know why my head hurts. Yeah, it's because you keep looking back, and it's because you keep looking back. And it's
Yeah,
so awesome that one of the things I do so wholeheartedly love about Best Life is that we don't do that. We're
yeah.
always looking forward. We're,
Mhm.
we're always in this space of um, finding out what feels good next and
Yeah,
discovering how to be more clarifying as we're flowing and how to have an even greater connection with the unlimitedness of who we truly are. But we don't do that by looking back. We do that by deliberately being here in the moment and flowing forward.
Mhm. Yeah, right. And so what do you do, right? If say, right? Because this is real. This is human experience. And maybe you have something that happened in your life that still holds your attention that you wish didn't happen, right? Maybe there is something like that. So what would you do? We would encourage you to acknowledge it. It's okay. And then, right, just come into a line, just acknowledge, and whatever feeling, not the physical incident, not the physical, I don't care, whatever, but I did this to my brother and then I poked holes in his tires. And how did it make you feel? It made me feel so sad, so disappointed and so sad, right? Well, acknowledge that, right? I feel so sad because I thought I was a better big sister than that. I just didn't think, right? Whatever it is, right? Acknowledge, done. Okay, not the actual physical part of it, whatever. Just kind of how it made you feel, and then
Right.
begin softening that,
Right.
you know. And if I would have known then what I know now, this would have been different. But
Right.
it's okay because of that, I know what I know now. I know more clearly who I am. And I so love and appreciate my brother. And
Oh,
I'm so
yeah.
happy that we can, move forward. And I'm so happy that everything in this universe is moving forward. And I'm so happy, right? You just go about softening and shifting and softening and shifting. And if you've had some negative emotion around that for a while, it's okay if it comes back in a different situation or scenario. Just acknowledge it again and go about that soothing process again. You can call it a soothing process. You can call it a sweetening process. That's what Julie called it the other day. You
Yeah.
can call it a lightening process. Whatever it is that's making that thing that feels bad, the actual feeling, softening it to something that feels like a sense of relief, that
Right.
feels a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to add to that, Dave?
I do, Jen. I think what's so cool about this too is, sometimes these little, we'll say, human streams of consciousness can sneak in, right? And I
Yeah.
think a big place with that is, and I've been seeing it more and more. I'm not really sure why, but it's okay, because I used to hold these sort of thoughts for myself too. Is um, either asserting your love towards yourself or asserting it upon another, right? Like, I deserve to have a great person in my life, and so just you wait, just you see, I am this loving. And it's almost trying to assert our vibration. It's not almost about it. It's trying to assert our vibration. It's trying to assert one's love. It's trying to say I shine brighter than the ones that don't want to be with me. And guys, just relax. Give up the fight.
Right. Right.
Like, really just learn to love. And I think a lot of that comes in, Jen, because we've talked about this too in Best Life, which is trying to focus on the specificities way too soon instead of just generalizing out, knowing, you know, we all come from the same source of love and light, knowing that we all have our own inner being, knowing that we're all here guided on our own beautiful journey. We're always doing the best we can with what we got. And by doing things like that and saying those kind of general statements as we flow forward, uh, then there's no propensity to want to be like, and I'll show you ex-boyfriend from seventh, or what. I'm just saying, like, as if you're a girl, and I don't have any ex-boyfriends. But you know what I mean? Like, it is that energy, and it's so good to just like let that go,
Yeah.
let that go,
Yeah.
acknowledge those energies, flow forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Because consider this, as we're flowing forward, right? This may be a different way to look at it. As we're flowing forward, you don't need to hang on to anything because guess who's hanging on to it? Everything. Your vortex, your inner being. They're holding it all in place for you, unwavering, just like the focus that holds our universe in balance, that holds our planets in balance, that keeps the oxygen all right, the same focus that allows you to breathe all night long and keeps your heart beating and your digestive and all of that regulates your temperature, all of those things. It's all happening So, so if you can just think of letting that go and focusing right in your now, right? You'll feel the abundance. You'll feel how everything is already there, right? And this could be anything from relationships to physical possessions to abundance to just a greater sense of well-being. It's all there. But when you think you need to kind of hold on to it, you really are blocking yourself up and you're creating a lot of extra resistance and stress.
Can I add to that too, Jen? I think
Yeah, of
another
course.
thing it ties in with it too, and people sometimes just really don't even view it that way. It also creates a massive scarcity vibration because it's like I only had one that really loved me, and Jen, I'll never find another. And I'm being very dramatic, but sometimes, maybe this resonates for you. And if that was something where it's like, oh my gosh, Dave gets me, that wasn't my intention, but it's very real. I get it, you guys. And I think the thing is to understand that, again, acknowledging these vibrations as they pop up, um, and also clarifying what is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is also not assertion. Acknowledgement is also not like, well, uh, good, good. I'm glad that they made me feel like crap. Fine, I'll show them. That's not really acknowledging.
Yeah,
That's basically trying to push off what you're not feeling. Whereas
right.
instead you can go, it pisses me off that I feel this way.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't like feeling pissed off. Mm, okay, but what do I know? And then really putting, and why do I want to feel better, right, Jen? I mean, all these things that Abraham talks about, and that right there, oh my golly, gee willikers, Jen,
Yeah.
it's so freeing.
Yeah. It really is, right? And because it's your energy to move. Now, in Best Life, we do things right, and we offer some coaching. We have actually a coaching certification class coming up, and then an advanced one coming up after the beginning of the year. Um,
Yeah,
but these are for people to help guide you as a coach, right? But the whole point of everything we talk about in Best Life, and I will say this from Abraham's perspective too, so I'm speaking on behalf of you, Abraham, right, is for you to feel your guidance, your connection, your perspective, and to be in love with it, to sift and sort and shape and mold and focus and just love it, right? But what will detract you from that is if in the process, before you really have that connection plugged in, you're like, I wonder what Dave's doing, I wonder what Joe's doing, I wonder what this guru says, I wonder what that guru says, I wonder what this book says, I wonder what that says. And you're trying to garner all this other information when it's all within you,
right.
right, from somewhere else, trying to hang on to and hold to. And here's the thing, when you're really feeling and flowing in your alignment, you'll be guided. If there's something from Abraham to hear, it'll pop up on your YouTube, or
Oh
it
yeah.
will just show up for you. Or if there's something in Best Life, or if there's a little something in a book, you'll be guided right to it.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, or somebody will just say it to you, and
Right.
somebody that's not a guru.
Right.
Right? We're all extensions of source. So just know source is all around us. And the more we can come into alignment with it within ourselves, the more we can see it in all that surrounds us. And when the more we see it, the more we call it forth.
Yes, Jen.
This is so beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to add to that too. I
Yeah.
think a big piece of this too, and I love that we're talking about this. I can feel your energy. I know you can feel mine. We hope you guys can feel our energy. I'm sure a lot of you can. What I think is so cool about this too, Jen, is it ties in so beautifully with trust, right? Trusting what you feel, when you feel it, as you feel it, trusting your own internal guidance system more and more and more and more and more. Because you and I have talked about this too, which is um, there's not that search vibration anymore. I'm not searching for what I need to do next. I'm no longer going, okay, but what do they say about this? Or what does he say about this? Or what does my Uncle Joe think about this thing that already feels good to me? And I know it feels good to me, but I just need to get this extra validation. Can you guys feel that? That means there's still that searching vibration. And it's okay. I used to be the biggest searcher on the planet. Oh my God. But when I got to a space of really feeling and flowing with myself, the less I searched. And now, Jen, it's just like you said, now I feel the guidance. And like you said, it's not coming from Guru. It's coming from some 6-year-old in the back of my car. It's coming from, you know what I mean? Or
The
it's coming
best
from,
guidance.
yeah, it's coming from my guidance. It's coming from these cooperative components that I continuously surround myself with. I rarely even read books anymore. Uh-oh. But guys, guess what? It just doesn't feel good to me anymore. If there's something that I feel like reading, I'm guided to it. And like you said, it'll come across my path, or I'll feel the inspiration, never the motivation.
Yeah.
Searching vibration comes from a motive vibration. What do I need to do next? How can I do this better? How can I feel my alignment more? Can you guys feel that? There's a rush energy in there. There's a I'm not adequate enough. There's a I'm not worthy enough vibration. And I'm here to tell you with 1,000% certainty, and I know that's not a real number, 1,000% certainty, you are worthy. You are worthy because you are you.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't that awesome? So, and here's the thing: if you don't have certainty on some of these things, that's okay.
Yeah.
Begin with where you are. A lot of people have spent their entire lives trying to prove that they're worthy by working extra hard or proving something or whatever to try and prove their worthiness instead of doing the work that they enjoy and doing it because it just lights them up, right? It feels
Right.
so good for them.
Right.
And and there's definitely ways to just acknowledge, because you can only be where you are. So if you find like, gosh, I've been working and doing all these things, and well, just acknowledge, right? I am where I am, right? And I'm starting to maybe believe some of these things that I'm hearing. They're starting to make sense. They say I'm an extension of source energy. And if I'm an extension of source energy, then do I really need to be fixed? Or do I just need to feel who I really am? It's, and if it's true that I can't really do anything wrong, then has all of this sifting and sorting just been giving me opportunities to really clarify more of what I want? I don't need to beat myself up. I don't need to fix myself. I don't need to be hard on myself. No, right? Just kind of, feel these statements, feel them. And, if they feel a little far of a stretch, just feel what you can feel that's relevant in them. And then gently shift your focus. The universe will show you evidence of who you really are when you deliberately begin shifting your focus in that way. You'll
Ooh,
begin to
yeah.
see evidence of how loved you are.
Yeah.
You'll begin to see evidence of how valuable you are, how irreplaceable you are. And you'll see how responsive the universe is to you, how responsive your inner being is, and how responsive the law of attraction is. But you have to be deliberate in that.
Yeah.
So here's what I wouldn't do. Okay, I'm really a hot mess. Fix me. Well, right? Not that. Or I pray that you'll please forgive me. Please, I've been so bad. Please, I'm so sorry. Please. Okay, it's not that either, right? Because you're getting what you're focusing on. But when you begin to say, I can feel source within me. I know that my life has value and purpose. I know
Yeah.
that I'm a human being. I'm a being. I came here to be, and to be in a way that feels good. If I choose it, and I'm so free, right? Begin to feel these things. And really, if you like this, you can just kind of take a broader view of our planet right now. There was such a strong asking on a planetary level for a reset because there was so much pushing and pushing and pushing and working hard and striving and struggling. There was a lot.
A lot.
People were tired. There was a big asking. And
Yeah.
yeah, here comes a pandemic, right?
Ta-da!
Ta-da, right? And you can see the well-being of the planet, right? Look
Yeah.
at our environment is thriving right now. It
Oh
is
yeah.
just magnificently thriving, and many people are thriving. Now, I'm not going to say every person has lined themselves up with thriving or feeling better, but it's there. It's there for you. The vibrations of feel goodness are there for you, but you have to begin with where you're at and gently shift your focus to those things that feel better.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm, mm.
Yeah,
Just sweet syrup and music to my ears, Jen. I mean,
yeah,
I just really love it because I just feel this. I feel this every day, and the clarity, right?
yeah,
I love when you were talking about, the sifting and the sorting.
yeah.
It's wonderful,
Mhm.
you know. And it's this other thing too of just um, knowing that the journey of who we are is this continuous journey of being kind to ourselves and being loving to ourselves and
Yeah.
being gentle to ourselves and with ourselves. There's such a propensity still for people to just be like, "Oh, I'm awful." No, you're not. Or I did that wrong. No, you didn't. Another place that sneaks in is I've heard this phrase, which is, "Oh, could have done better." No, you did great. You did exactly what you thought was the best thing for you to do by trusting your guidance and, flowing forward with that. Because you'd said it earlier too, Jen, which is, if some of these things are a stretch, okay, even acknowledging that is going to allow you to flow forward because then it's like, okay, well, what do you know? And like, I love how you were using even some more broader examples, like, my life is one to create. I know that every thought that I think comes true. I know that law of attraction is that which is like unto itself is drawn. These are the things I know. And it could be something that basic, you guys. And by doing that, guess what? You get to be in that space of moving more in the direction of what you desire, and so because of that, the momentum will naturally build. There is this interesting idea that people think that we need to be the momentum. The way the leverage of the universe is, let that be the momentum. It is magnificent, continuous, ongoing, balancing momentum. And all we have to do is just feel good and
Line up.
enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Line up with it. Momentum is created by the consistency of our focus, right?
Yes.
That's where momentum comes from. And hype, well, that's kind of fake momentum, right? Sort of like that. It's a word we use, so take that loosely, a little bit. But when you're trying to be the momentum, but it really comes from consistency of focus, and it's not something that we're meant to conjure up um, through action. It's something we do when we focus, and our interest becomes greater and the particles move more quickly, right? Because we came to focus the energy and we came to delight in the physical manifestations and experience that come to be because of it, to enjoy, kind of the coalescing and combining and sifting and sorting and shaping and feeling that momentum, come into place, and then the manifestation. Yeah,
Mm.
it's something to be enjoyed and savored. And, kind of, adding to what you were sharing too a moment ago, Dave, in all the people that I visit with, and I visit with a lot of people pretty much across the board, the thing that I say to them that helps them to really come into a better space is to be nicer to yourself. Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Be gentle with yourself,
Oh,
right?
that's so good.
Be easy about things and then help them. Usually, if I'm talking to somebody, I'll help show them, right, from their own perspective, right? Softening words, right? If you're like, gosh, such a jerk, right? Some people talk like this to themselves, right? Yeah, or what was I thinking, right?
Right.
Soften that, right? And it's like, No, I'm not a jerk. I'm just used to saying those words. I know who I am,
Right. Right,
right?
Jen. Yep.
I know my intention. I'm always
Oh,
flowing forward. Things are always working out for me, right? Just kind of, just sort of acknowledge. Sometimes we get into these patterns and or we get into sort of a group agreement, right? Well, I just kind of pick on myself. I kind of put myself down a little bit, makes me more likable. No, right? So, right, and consider that if you've been kind of mm, holding yourself back or, well, I'm just kind of a ditz, I'm just sort of a, some of these things people say or they sort of, yeah,
oh,
and it's not it. It's like, it's just gently begin where you're sort of berating yourself. You're putting yourself down. You're coming into misalignment, right? Because you want to feel who you really are. And
right,
just
Jen.
because you pushed the wrong key, said the wrong word, or whatever, forgot to get something on your grocery list, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's totally okay. And when you will let it be okay, you'll see how it actually opens you up to something that you didn't see before, or a new opportunity, or somebody else actually picked something up, or that,
Oh,
that thing that you forgot to get, or whatever. Or when you actually go back to the store, you bump into somebody you've been wanting to talk to, or it's like these most divine things that happen when you're nice to yourself. You
I
see
love
how
that.
we're always being guided.
Yeah.
And so that's always my strongest advice to everybody, my strongest guidance. You can always be a little nicer to yourself. You can always be a little sweeter to yourself. And guess what? When you're sweet to yourself, it just pours all out all around you. You'll find yourself being nice to your kids and your spouse or your significant other, your friends, your coworkers, strangers you don't even know. It just pours out, right? And it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
My head's gonna fall off because I keep no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course. I'm being playful. No, Jen, I love it because I mean, such vibrational alignment. Because the phrase that I've noticed that I say, where people have felt the most impact and the most um, freedom to feel who they are, is, "Hey, man, let yourself off the hook. You're doing great." So
Oh, yeah.
very similar to what you're saying, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like totally right. It's the same vibration. It's a little bit different verbiage, a little bit different wording, but then people go, yeah, I guess I am kind of, my customers will say things like, yeah, I guess I am doing all right. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't, and then I don't try to goose it up and be like, no, you're doing better than all right, baby. You're doing magnificent and fantastical and spectacularly magnificent. And I don't do that because to them, that's not real.
Yeah.
But when we can just be honest and really be in that space to wonderfully shine in a way where it's encouraging those around us to be kind to themselves. They
Mhm,
feel it. They
mhm.
feel it. They feel it. They feel it. And it has been so fun, Jen, and so rewarding. Not that I'm doing it for a reward. I want to make that very clear, but rewarding as in it's fulfilling, as in it's delightful, as in it's fun, as in it's something that I enjoy, as in it's incredibly clarifying and expansive for moi,
Yeah. Yeah.
is to go, hey, man, or hey, or hey, Jackie, let yourself off the hook. You're doing great.
I love that. I love those words. Oh, they're just so beautiful,
They
right?
are.
And so free. And and it all begins with you. When you're nice to yourself, it just pours out. It just pours out everywhere. And you'll start to see things in a new way. You'll start to view people just as on their path, not as in such a terrible space, or they should be doing it different. You know what they need to do. Yeah, but instead you're
They
just
should be
more
in
like,
Best Life. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
kidding.
Instead you see people as just on their way, and thank
Right.
you very much. And happy we could be on this journey together. And it's okay that we don't always see things the same way. Maybe we never see things the same way. But I'm still glad we're here in this life experience together. And that's a wonderful thing. And here again, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with all of it, because sometimes it may be a stretch. I'm not saying, if some of these statements don't ring true in all areas, well, find what is true. Find your truth. Like these people really frustrate me. Okay, right? Acknowledge that. You know, and that's okay that I'm aware of that. And the fact that I feel frustrated, is really telling me something. It's telling me that source, God, my inner being, is feeling them different than me. That's why I'm feeling this feeling of frustration. And you know what? It's not my job to feel what they're feeling. And they can be who they are, and I can still be who I am. And I know I'm on my path and they're on their path. You know, it's going to be all right. I'm just going to let that be. That's okay. Right. And just gentle. They didn't change. You didn't go into agreement with whatever it was that you don't agree, because it's not that. It's just that
No.
you're letting people be. And you
Yeah.
know that your path is your path. And there can be all kinds of other, stuff to you that seems like, wow, way different than how I feel or think or what I
Right.
want.
Right, Jen.
But that's okay.
Yes.
And, but, if it doesn't feel okay at first, just go little by little by little. You'll
Right.
feel that momentum, right? You'll
Yeah.
feel the universe assisting you. You'll
Yeah.
you'll feel the response in your body. You really will. It feels good to be kind.
Yeah,
It
it
feels
does.
good to be kind to yourself, and it feels good to be kind to others. And it feels good to give others the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
instead of always thinking they're doing the worst possible thing and trying to sabotage something or destroy the universe or the planet.
Right. Right.
Maybe they just see it a little different, and all is well,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it ties into, Jen, as we're getting close to wrapping up, about the understanding too of taking the path of most allowance, or the path of least resistance, whichever one feels good to you. And I will say sometimes one feels better than the other, and it's all perfect. But what I think is so cool too is I just even now I got to experience some of that, of being kind to myself. For those who don't know, I live close to an Air Force base. Well, what's by Air Force base? Jets. But my path of most allowance is I love having my air conditioned type system work. And it's not actually an air conditioner; it's called a swamp cooler. But the way it works best is if I have my window open. Well, guess what? When I'm muting myself on these lives, oftentimes it's because jets are flying by. But I'm also not like, darn those jets. They're jets. They're gonna do what jets do, which is go really fast
Right.
through the air. And so I'm able to just lightfully just go, this is so cool. This
Yeah.
is, and it's funny because guess what? That's something that used to get to me, because sometimes they would fly like early in the morning, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., something like that. But I had to just go, yeah, but I don't need to push up against those. They're just doing what they do.
Yeah.
And, I'm free. I'm free to feel good. It is the understanding we talk about, guys, of what's the path of least resistance? What's the path of most allowance? What's the path that's going to allow me to continue to flow into a greater understanding of me feeling good unconditionally?
Yeah.
That, this.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And isn't it awesome how easy it is for you to mute yourself and unmute yourself? It's, unless you're actually looking at your screen, you don't even know, right? I don't,
Yeah.
right? It's beautiful. It's easy. Things can be seamless. The solution can be right there. Oh, there's a mute button.
Exactly.
Oh, it's very
Exactly.
easy.
Exactly.
Oh, right. It's, we have the ability to find our balance, to calibrate to that which feels better to us always. There's
Always.
never a situation where we can't acknowledge and calibrate to a better feeling. We can when we're in one of those spaces. We don't have to. We're free. And if we don't, we'll feel even greater emotion, negative emotion, until maybe we finally go, I give up, or I need to take a nap, or it's time to go to bed, or something,
Ooh,
right? Yeah,
I wanted to add this as the kind of this final piece, Jen, because I think it's really going to be helpful, and I feel very inspired to add this, which was my choir teacher when I was growing up. Wonderful man, and still is a wonderful man. It's not like he just vanished or anything like that. So he's still a wonderful man. But he always shared with us, even when performance time came up, like if you make a mistake when you're singing, does it feel good to focus on that, or does it feel good to focus on the whole of the performance? And I was like, yeah, that's really brilliant. And so with what you were just saying, Jen, that's what was so great, was because again, I'm just giving my example, but you wouldn't have known it unless I just brought it up. And
yeah,
so kind of, as you guys are feeling and flowing in life, today and, you know, for the rest of your days, the rest of the time you're in this physical experience, when you notice these things, it's okay. Like don't put the focus on the misalignment. Put the focus on the things that are going right. Put the focus on the things that do feel good,
yeah,
and so that's why it was so fun, because a lot of us got really good at maybe making musical mistakes in performances, or whether I did musicals and stuff, but the audience would never know, because
yeah.
we never highlighted it. We were never like, ah, ah. We just kept going, flowing like nothing happened. And that's the whole point, guys. Source views it as nothing happened, because
Oh,
it's just like, hey, that's all good. Yep. Preferences, aren't they great?
I love that. I love that. And I love that you shared that because this was something too, and it was really, really obvious with my daughter. She was on a gymnastics show team, and they travel all around the US and do different halftime shows. They're amazing, the FM Macro team. And you know this team, it was primarily girls. There usually be a boy or two on there as well, but they were so in tune with one another and so in alignment with one another that things would happen in the middle of these live shows, big crowds. These were very big crowds. And maybe I've seen it many times. Somebody would land wrong, sprain an ankle, somebody would hop right into their spot. You would never even know. They would get standing ovations after every show. And it was so beautiful to see, because unless you knew the choreography intimately, you would never know. And it was so beautifully orchestrated because there was multiple things going on, and there was always varied focal points. And it was just magnificent. And I saw more than one occasion where things like that would occur and you would never know. And the one that would step in and do that, it was such, you could see how it was such an aligned thing. And how the team just totally responded. There was one show too in particular where they lost the music. This was a very show that was very dependent on music, but they didn't stop the show. They kept going, and the crowd began clapping,
Love
and
it.
they had the beat, and it was incredible. I have just chills all over my body right now. It was so fantastic. Source was all over that.
We
So
had that too,
wonderful.
Jen.
Yeah.
The speakers went out on the orchestra, and so we just all kept going a cappella, and the
Yeah.
crowd started clapping along with our a cappella beats. One guy started
Yeah.
stomping his foot on the stage, because it's like the show must go on. Like we're gonna keep we're flowing forward, man. There's no stopping now.
Yeah.
And that's what life is, guys. There's no stopping now. Allow yourself to be playful with all of this. And use very with like performing arts, but we're here to be creators. So delight in the creation of all of it, and be gentle through all of it. Feel our energy, but more importantly, feel your energy. So Jen, this has been mwah, 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 mwah,
Oh,
mwah, so good.
so fun. So magnificent. Yes, I loved every moment. It's such a joy to be able to come together and share um, in this way. So I hope you found something today that resonates with you, something that makes you feel just a little bit better, maybe a little more inspired and connected to who you really are. Mm.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you all and love you so very, very much. Have a
Thanks,
beautiful
you
day.
guys. Love you.
Bye bye, everyone. Love you all.